Dear Diary, this is the Cranium Report with Commander Cranium. One of the greatest travesties I have ever witnessed in my life, which is saying a lot, considering I've seen almost nothing but travesties, is what the Trachtenbergs and other so-called friends of mine did to help a mayor they despised steal the 2009 election. Tina and Jason Trachtenberg literally killed women and children and helped rape women and children, and on and on and on. Evict 97-year-old people from their homes so they'd have nowhere to go. Just tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of crimes can be linked to this one crime by Jason and Tina. And Tammy, Hart, my friends Jamie and Michelle also were involved. And I think there were a couple other people too. And Rachel deserves some blame too. She knew it was wrong and went along with it because she said she felt pressured. For those of you who don't know, here in New York City today, we have one of the greatest criminal dictators in recorded history. He's a media billionaire. So instantly, before he took power of City Hall, he was one of the most powerful people on the planet. A billionaire? Uh-oh. A media mogul? Uh-oh. And then he became mayor. Mayor of New York City is in many ways the most powerful position on earth, a lot more powerful than the President of the United States, because the world capital of media is not in D.C., and the world capital of finance is not in D.C. The President of the United States is a fucking useless mascot. The mayor of New York City pretty much runs the world. For instance, the entire worldwide financial collapse and recession, greatest since the Depression, was all caused by one man, Mike Bloomberg. Everyone likes to forget it started a few blocks from his office on Wall Street, which he ran, and as a financial genius, alleged financial information wizard, blah, 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 he was up on that shit. I can go on, don't get me started on that one. If anybody would like to debate that. The entire worldwide recession is the fault of one man, Mike Bloomberg. Ask me for details. You'll be shocked by some of the facts you don't know. Because you didn't read it in the New York Times, you didn't read it in the New York Post, so you think, well, it can't be true. They would have told me the truth, but why would a newspaper ever lie? Why would a newspaper ever omit facts? I mean, these are billionaires. These are businessmen. They care about truth. That's what they care about. They don't care about money. They care about truth. And Mike Bloomberg, everyone agrees now, luckily, a little late, but that he's the greatest psychopath in American history. Bush and Cheney didn't try to overturn term limits. They didn't even try to cancel term limits so they could stay in power. Even when they had massive, absolute power, they didn't even try. Mike Bloomberg did it, violating hundreds of laws. He committed so many crimes. So this story is about the Rachel Project with me at City Hall. It was magnificent. When we did it my way, everything went flawlessly. And then when we did it everybody else's way, and they took my project and fucked it over and stabbed me behind my back, it completely failed. Which is funny, because that's what happened every other day. My friends chose to listen to themselves instead of me. Weird. You'd think the first 300,000 times they might learn something. Just kidding. Humans are retards. And fucktards. So, Mike Bloomberg was planning on cheating term limits. And I know more about Mike Bloomberg than anybody on earth. In some ways, more than Mike Bloomberg. And, in fact, he's out to lunch. He's a fucking airhead vegetable. But he didn't want to leave City Hall because he was making billions of dollars every year he was in City Hall. He was robbing people fucking blind. Him and his friends were taking the city to town. Nobody rich wanted him to leave power. They had never, ever ripped off so many people so fast. Ever. This was one of the greatest white-collar criminals of all time. Put that in perspective. Bernie Madoff stole $60 billion in 70 years. Mike Bloomberg stole that in 2. Big difference. They say Bernie Madoff is the biggest white-collar criminal in American history. I don't think so. Mike Bloomberg stole $5 billion before he even took over power of City Hall. And as the mayor of City Hall, Mike Bloomberg controls everything. He controls the media of New York, and then every other media outlet on earth rips their shit off from New York City. It's really a bad domino effect. The mayor controls everything. And it's fucking frightening. You have no idea. America's never seen a person or a politician remotely like Bloomberg. He's the most dangerous, psychotic, mass-murdering fucking fucktard. We're lucky he doesn't actually want to be president of the United States because he could buy that shit. Well, he's not enough money to buy off every paper in America. He didn't want the job. The corporations tried to force him to become president. But being president is a shitty job. Being mayor of New York is indeed the greatest job there is. And Bloomberg said that, and Giuliani said that, and they're correct. It's like being a super duper rock star, but you also have a license to kill. And you don't even have to rehearse with your band. Wow. Remember, is Mick Jagger in the paper every single day? Yeah, okay, so he's like 5,000 times the second most popular rock star or pop star ever. That's why the mayor said, I'm not leaving. I know the law says 2 different civilian referendums said I can't run for a 3rd term. But you know what? I'm Mike Bloomberg. I bought everything. I bought everyone. I stole the first election. I stole the second election. Every single reporter and every single newspaper has sucked my dick for 8 years. I ain't fucking leaving. This is every human's dream come true. I ain't fucking leaving. Nobody's going to make me obey the law. I'll do whatever it fucking takes. I'll start by spending millions of dollars to have city lawyers look for any kind of loophole to keep me in power. You understand? He used his own money to cheat democracy. I mean, he used our money, not his own, to cheat democracy over and over and over again, right? There was a few city council members who did not want to vote to get rid of term limits, and he bribed them with millions of dollars. Burp. So, strangely enough, once again, all the left-wing papers and all the right-wing papers had identical ideology when it comes to Mayor Bloomberg. They all share the exact same values and ideals, and they said, we don't believe people's referendum matters. We don't think the people, the taxpayers, the employer, the boss, should have any say on what their workers do. That's crazy. The New York Times said that. The New York Post, they all said it. Village Voice. Every one of them supported Mike Bloomberg because they knew he was going to spend another $110 million and they were going to get most of that money in advertising. You couldn't make a clearer case of fucking corruption out or racketeering. That's why I filed a RICO lawsuit against these pieces of shit. Wish me luck because this legal system is a fucking hoax. So at first it was hard to believe, and people said, there's no way he's going to do it. And I said, he can do anything he wants. He owns you and everybody else. Oh, tell me the last time the people rose up and rebelled. What's that, you say? Oh, never happened in America. Thomas Jefferson even makes fun of people in the Declaration of Independence for it. You people will always kneel. Always. And Bloomberg had no problem cheating it. He cheated everything. Broad daylight. He cheated everything. He cheated thousands of things. He fucking paid people to come to the term limit hearings and pretend to be pro him. I mean, just the dirtiest shit. Just like how his TV commercials were all paid actors saying, he's the greatest. I love Mayor Bloomberg. I like Mayor Bloomberg too. They're paid actors. That's false advertising. It's not even free speech, you fucking scumbag. It's false advertising. It's a fucking crime, you fucking crook. But he bought everyone off. All law enforcement. Everyone. The President of the United States won't touch him. The Department of Justice won't touch him. America's never seen corruption like this. And everyone just sits there just like they did under Hitler. And so you all deserve to fucking go down in flames. Fuck you. But listen to what happened. This is outrageous. Me and Rachel kicked this fucking super Nazi's ass. So one day, Rachel and Tina were over my house. We were hanging out, and I said, oh shit. I said, tomorrow's the term limits hearings. Because they're going to change the law, a very dramatic law, that the people voted on twice. They had to hold public hearings. It's just a formality. It's just dog and pony show. But doesn't matter. Lots of people, I think everyone who wants to, gets to testify for 3 minutes in front of the city council. Now, everyone secretly thought this was the most corrupt thing in American history. Canceling democracy, canceling 2 democratic elections, and using the dumbest fucking lies you could ever come up with. And every editorial board said you were right to do so. And everyone secretly thought he was the dirtiest scumbag in the world, even the editorialists. But no one was allowed to say it out loud. But so the media was going to go wild with the term limits hearings, seeing regular New Yorkers get up and either say, I love this idea, we should have him the mayor forever, or this guy's a bum. And so I said, now I'm not allowed to go down there. I'd gladly go down there and I'd tear that place apart. I'm notorious for doing things like that, stealing the show, stealing everyone's thunder, blah, blah, blah. But they wouldn't let me anywhere near the building. They can't legally bar me, but when have they ever once obeyed the law? So the city council wouldn't have kept me out. The mayor's people would have, his staff, his intelligence division, Gestapo. It's his own personal unit of detectives, and who know me quite well. Most of them actually really like me, but I don't think they would have let me sneak in the building. They hate him. Everybody hates him. I've never seen anybody more hated. Again, Hitler had serious support, real, genuine support. Stalin had genuine support. Osama had genuine support. Bloomberg, Giuliani had genuine support. I've never seen anything like Bloomberg. He's the most hated man in human history. That's why he became a billionaire in the first place and named everything after himself. It was to say, remember me, all you jerks in high school picked on me for being a fucking asshole? He's hated everywhere he goes. Every business he's worked at, people hate him. He's a fucking jerk. He's a fucking self-centered, selfish asshole piece of shit who never cared about anyone but himself and the dollar bill. But don't get me started. So where are we at? Fuck. So I said to Tina Rachel, I said, I can't go down there, but would you guys go down for me? And I said, now knowing that Rachel at the time was 14. She's vain. She wants to be a movie star. She wants to have her own perfume like every girl. Boring. She wants to be a superstar. It's like, okay, well, I said, Rachel, there's going to be cameras and video all over that place. I want you, I said, would you go? He said it would be killer if you testified, because I'm not allowed to testify. And I'll write your speech. And she's like, well, I don't know what to say. I'm Secretary. I said, well, don't worry. Lots of people read their speeches. Even politicians, read all their speeches. Nothing Bloomberg says he wrote. None of it. He reads what he paid somebody millions of our tax dollars to write for him so he'd sound more eloquent than he really is. And why that's legal is fucking insane. I don't think it is legal. I think it's a form of fraud. Do you understand? Look it up. But who's going to stand up to it? The politician who doesn't use a teleprompter? You see, everyone breaks the law. Everyone's a scumbag. That's why nothing can ever improve. Everyone's a moron. That's why nothing goes right in the world. We need more people to start using their brains. So I said, Rachel, you'll steal the show. I'll write you a speech right now. It's just a 3-minute speech. You just read it verbatim, and you will destroy that place and smash this piece of shit super Nazi in the face. He wouldn't be there. It was the city council. But it didn't matter. This was stage 1 of a 2-stage battle. She said, all right. And Tina agreed. Said, yeah, sounds like fun. And a bunch of them went down to City Hall. Oh, Rachel and I tweaked the speech a little bit. She had a couple funny lines I put in there. And she went down. I didn't watch it or anything. Needless to say, every single thing I said, which was outrageous, to say that she would steal the show. We had famous legends of politics, Ed Koch, Mario Cuomo, all kinds of people. We had all kinds of walks of life. How would she be the one to steal the show? Because I'm never wrong, and I'm the best writer on the planet, and everything I do is fantastic. Well, that's not completely true. I mean, listen to some of my shitty demos. They're horrible. The songs are brilliant, but the demos are terrible. But that's time constraints, so fuck you. So she goes down, she testifies, and needless to say, everyone said she stole the show. Watch the video on YouTube. Even the city council yells at the audience for exploding in applause, and then he says, "You're not allowed to applaud in this chamber." He said, "But we'll make an exception for this amazing little girl." And another one's like, "You should be mayor someday." I mean, they're just raving about her. This is the city council. And she was adorable. She went in there, and what's amazing is she delivered the most vicious speech of everybody in that room. People always say to me, "Christopher, you got to tone it down." Wrong, assholes. George Washington didn't tone it down. Jefferson didn't tone it down. Fuck you. You got to tone it up. She ripped him to shreds. When she called him, I think when she called him the worst mayor ever the first time, you hear the audience gasp. Watch the video. A lot of people are like, no, she didn't. She didn't. She ripped him to fucking shreds. She exposed, because remember, everybody was arguing either that the two arguments that were played out was, yes, he's the greatest mayor of all time, but he shouldn't overthrow term limits, and yes, he's the greatest mayor of all time, and he should overthrow term limits. Those were the two main arguments you get in this fucking fake society. Rachel went in and proved that he was a fucking failure who had destroyed the city for 8 years. Her family had been burglarized because of this fucking fuck up. He had wasted tax dollars on stupid shit. That he was the most idiotic money manager in history. That he was a fucking his plans to fix the city's fiscal problems were retarded. He was just going to raise taxes. Everything she said came true. She destroyed. She was great. My speech was fucking unbelievable. And even more hilarious, all the newspapers reprinted almost my entire speech because every line was a soundbite. And these are all people who have an official blacklist on me, and they're all reprinting my slamming points of the mayor in all the mainstream press. It's fucking hilarious. It was brilliant. It was one of the greatest moments of political theater in American history. And everything went as flawlessly as I said it would. Rachel's picture was everywhere. I mean, she was a superstar. You had people like Congressman Anthony Weiner inviting her to future events. I mean, she was just fucking amazing. She became a fucking superhero overnight. All because they listened to the person who's never been wrong or let them down. But that was part one. Part two was going to go international. Part two was going to be the little 14-year-old rock drummer with the red ribbon in her hair, face to face with the billionaire super Hitler. Face to face. Every reporter, cameraman, etc. That a week later, because the city council, of course, it was a dog and pony show, and they just completely agreed with the mayor. All the ones who agreed with him, of course, got reimbursed quite well from our tax dollars. They just cheated everything, just the king of fraud. And he may get away with it. I mean, his reputation won't, but he may die happy and rich and comfortable. He may never go to prison because our attorney generals are fucking scumbags. Eric Schneiderman, what a fucking dirtbag that crook is. Eric Holder, what a fucking dirtbag that jerk-off is. But you know that. Your electoral system is completely fake for the most part. The citizen referendums, the people referendums are, or voter referendums, seem to be legit, but they prove not to be. Well, let's put this in perspective. There were two different votes. The first one was, shall the mayor and the rest of the citywide offices be held to 2 terms, 4 years each? The people jumped and said, fuck yeah. Then a couple years later, Giuliani tried to cheat it because he didn't want to leave office ever. And they tried to do a thing where they tried to convince the public to go for 3 terms. They said, just throwing everybody out after 2 terms, it's too chaotic. It's going to create too much anarchy in government. Give him 3 terms. Give him 12 years, like Hitler had. And the people said, fuck off. So Bloomberg tries a trick because he knows the people are stupid, and he knows nobody has memories, and he knows no reporter is going to dare tell the truth, which is, he says, I need 3 terms. You know, the people should decide if I get 3 terms, if I need 3 terms. It's like he left out the fact, because nobody remembered, that the second voter referendum was about 3 terms. The people had been offered that, and they said, fuck no. And Bloomberg got caught lying about everything. There wasn't one thing he didn't lie about. Example, he even said, like, one of his arguments was, the people deserve choices. Now, remember, he had always supported term limits, he had said on the record. He said to change term limits would be disgusting. He said to change term limits would be despicable. He then changed term limits. His argument was fantastic. One of his arguments, the guy shapeshifts every minute. You've never seen anybody with less ideology, less principle. Mike Bloomberg has one principle. Give me that fucking money in my pocket. That's the only thing he's ever stood for. The guy is frightening. You can't compare him to a Caligula or a Hitler or a Stalin or a fucking Bush Cheney or Reagan. You can't compare them. Those people were all fucking heroes compared to Mike Bloomberg, the biggest psychopathic criminal in fucking human history. If you think I'm exaggerating, let's publicly debate it. And you can have as many people as you want helping you on your team versus little old me, because you don't know jack squat about Bloomberg, and I know unbelievable amounts about this crook. So one of his fantastic arguments was, I believe in democracy. I think the people should have a choice. They should have a choice. Term limits gives them no choice. It doesn't. It gives them no choice. They deserve to have more choices on the ballot. Now, the reporters didn't think it was worth reporting that 4 years earlier in the 2005 election, Mike Bloomberg had spent millions of dollars to throw his Republican opponent on the Republican ballot, Thomas Ognebenny, off the ballot using dirty technical tricks. Are you sure you think the people should have more choices, Mike? Because you gave the Republicans no choice in the Republican primary. They had one choice, Mike Bloomberg. You just fucking lied. That's felony fraud. That's enough to put him in cuffs right there, people. But who's going to cuff him? Is there an honest law enforcement person in America? I've never seen one. Have you seen one? Can you name them? Because we can test them. We'll see if they arrest this piece of shit. The DAs are dirty. Everyone's fucking dirty. It's all professional courtesy. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. So a week late, end. We're gonna wrap we're gonna do this in two-parter. End of part 1.